Good morning, everybody. J.R. Fisher here. Good to see you. It is Wednesday, the 8th of June. Can't talk. 8th of June, 2021. James Breen says, good morning. JR, 83 feels like 91. I know, why do they do that feels like thing? Can't you just have one temperature? I don't know how that works. What do we got going on here? I bought a DJI gimbal. Guys, you can look that up, a DJI 4 gimbal. And I was trying to play with that this morning before I got in here with you guys. But let's check the weather because I had to take the case off my phone. That's why I mentioned that to you. And I don't like doing that. We're going to have a high of 70 degrees today and cloudy. June gloom. We got May gray, June gloom, two of our coldest months of the year. Let's see. Oh, yeah. You can betcha I hit the like button. Thank you so much. Hit that like button, guys. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit that subscribe button down there. Ring the bell. Turn on all bell notifications so that you're notified each and every time I go live. Guys, I am so happy to be here today. I'm happy to be here, but it's kind of sad too because I won't see you guys until next Monday. I am jumping on a plane tomorrow. Fortunately, I'm getting to sit where I want, which is up front. I remember, in the olden days, I couldn't afford the first class thing, so I do the first class now. I really appreciate it. But I told my wife I was really upset because we're flying on American Airlines, and they have shut off all alcohol. No more alcohol sales on American Airlines because they were, I guess telling people to put on masks, and a couple of people got in fights, and it turned into a whole big thing. And she was like, well, why do you care about that? I said, because we're paying that extra money and we're not going to get alcohol. She says, you don't drink alcohol on a flight. I was like, oh yeah, well, still, that's not the point. The point is I'm paying for it and they aren't giving it out. James does say I'm loud and clear. I appreciate that. And guys, if you're on this call, please put some comments in that chat section there. It means so much to me. It means so much to the YouTube algorithm. Richard says it's 72 here and hot enough for me. You don't like warm weather, do you, Richard? I can tell you don't. I like it like, I don't know, 75 to 78. How picky are we? I mean, we're alive. That should be enough for us, but yet we're still picky, right? Still picky. I've got a really interesting day planned today, guys. I'm helping my wife editing a video for her, which is a moving video. She is actually doing a video about our move to Austin, Texas. I say Austin, we're actually going to be in Georgetown, which is about 20 miles north of Austin. And I'm editing that video for her. I'm getting some of my scripts ready. When I get back on Monday or Tuesday, I've got to record videos. I got to do about probably 12 of them. It's going to be a long day. But this afternoon, I'm going to have lunch, or I guess a late lunch, with one of my old clients. To give you a quick story, and you can look him up. The name of the company is Veraheel. You see, Veraheel. You can look up his company there. But I was on a cruise, and before the cruise took off, and this is going back to, gosh, I want to say 2018. And you have to go to your muster stations, and you got to put on your life vest. You got to do all that. And this guy was next to me, and I look over at him and we just started talking. And his name was Sam. His dad was from Africa. He was an African guy. And we got to know each other. We hung out on the cruise. And he owned this company called Veraheel, which you can look up. I put it in the comment section there. And they did medical marijuana cards. So you could go online and you could talk to a doctor. And he would get you a medical marijuana card for your state. And even if your state had legalized marijuana, having one of these medical marijuana cards would give you a discount. So it was a really good deal. And he was doing well. He was doing about $80,000 or $90,000 a month in sales, and it was him and his partner and a couple other people. And they were trucking along. They were doing all right. And when I got back in town from the cruise, and we hit it off on the cruise, we hung out together, really nice guy. When I got back from the cruise, he says, can I hire you to train my team on how to do digital marketing? And I was like, sure, I'll do something like that. And back then I had the time to do it. I don't really have time to do it anymore. And he flew his entire crew in to San Diego, and we got in the conference room, and I trained those guys. And their sales went from 80 to 90,000 to a month to over $400,000 a month. So he was pretty pleased because he didn't pay me anywhere near that. And we've stayed friends ever since. He was in town the other day, and I saw him driving around in a Ferrari, and his brother was driving around in a Ferrari. He's a young guy, so he's like late 20s, so he's really kind of enjoying life. That's not my thing. So anyhow, we're going to meet today at around 3 o'clock, and we're going to kind of catch up, see if there's anything I can do for him, and just we're just friends at this point. But it's so cool to be able to share stuff with people in different types of niches. Like his niche, I didn't know anything about his niche, but I got up to speed on it, and I helped him out, and he made a lot of money, and he's in the millions of dollars a year now, which is great for him, and I'm glad for him. He's a really nice guy. But anyhow, guys, so that's the kind of stuff you can do with digital marketing. Now today we're going to talk about weirdness, okay, very weird stuff, and really how successful people seem to be really weird, and I'm going to explain to you why that's really not true, even though they are weird, but why it's not weird that they're weird. Does that make sense? But if you have any questions about starting, running, and growing online businesses, please put it in that chat section. If you are listening to this and it's not live, you can put it in the comments section. I'll be happy to look at that. Now, I'll tell you the first part before I get into some of these people and some of the traits that seem weird. I will tell you that the reason it may seem weird is that to accomplish things that the average person doesn't accomplish, you got to think about this, you can't be average. It makes sense, right? If you want to accomplish things that are above average, you can't be average. You can't do that. You can't look like everybody else and expect to achieve things that nobody else is achieving. They're just different stuff. And the more you look at this, the more you'll realize that almost everybody that's super successful seems different than the average person. They just seem different. Let me look at some of your comments here. It'll be great to get back to events to network again. Yes, it will, Paul. And Paul, that was the cruise I was on with you. That's where I met Sam. So it's kind of interesting. I met him there. Richard says, which video editor do you use? There's a lot of good video editors out there. The two I have are Final Cut Pro and Camtasia. I would say I use Camtasia about 99.9% of the time. Let me put this in here. Camtasia is what I use for video editing. Okay, probably one of the best ones out there. The only thing I don't like about Camtasia is it seems to lock up a lot. I have a lot of problems with that, and it's improved over the years. I've had it for a number of years, but I really like it, and I would highly suggest it. It's a great product. It's kind of glitchy sometimes. If I've got like a lot of stuff open, a lot of windows, I've got a lot of files on my computer, it's a little glitchy, but man, it's good. I mean, you can do so much with Camtasia. I use it for photos. I use it for videos. It's got just so many things in there. You can do, like, if you've got like an intro or something, you can save it in Camtasia and bring it into every video you do, or if there's some sound effects or music or whatever you've got that you want to use over and over again, you can save them in Camtasia and use them over and over again. It's a really good editing program. Matter of fact, I'm working on my wife's stuff today with that editing program. Now, you may be saying, why are you doing editing? Don't you have a video editor? I do have a video editor, but sometimes they don't understand what I want done. This particular video that she's doing is a moving video, and I know what angle she's going at, and he won't understand that. He's in the Philippines. He doesn't know her. He doesn't know her process, so I'm going to do this one for her. I think I'm better at some parts as far as telling a story and producing. He's probably better at images and that kind of stuff, but as far as telling a story and production, that's probably where my talent lies, because that's what I do. I tell stories, right? So let's get into the weirdness. Thank God I'm not weird, right? Thank God I'm not weird. Well, my wife tells me I'm weird all the time, and I am too. I know I am. It's just, you know what, that's the way it is. So here's why we call people weird. First off, because they do things differently than we would. Now, the question is that really weird? Is it weird because somebody's not doing what we would do? For the most part, average people do what everybody else does because they're trying to look like everybody else. They want to fit in. Somebody who's super successful does not care about fitting in. I know I don't care about fitting in. I don't care a whole lot more now than I did when I was younger. When I was younger, I tried to fit in. And I don't try to fit in there. I don't care. I really just don't care anymore. I told Paul that the other day, right, Paul? I said, I quit getting offended when I was in my 40s. And I would say that's probably accurate. Let's see. I just saw that city of Long Beach is taking over QE2 that we stayed on. Yeah, it's gone belly up a couple times, Paul. It's not doing well. I watched a documentary on it the other day, and everybody has lost money on it. Nobody has ever made money on that ship, and it is slowly disintegrating. It is rusting through. They really don't know what they're going to do with that ship. But yeah, Paul and I stayed on the QE2, the Queen Elizabeth II, and then we went over to our regular cruise ship. And it was a hunk of junk then. It was not maintained well. So let's look at some of these people who are weird. You can look up Seth Godin. Seth Godin. I want to spell it right. Okay. Seth Godin is weird. Super successful. Super successful. He wears these brightly colored socks, and they're always mismatched. They never match. How liberating would it be to throw all your socks in a drawer and not care which one you pulled out? Because there are no rights and lefts, okay, in case you don't know this. There are no rights and lefts. They're just socks. And if you threw them all in a drawer and didn't have to worry about matching them, you could get ready a whole lot faster. So is that weird or is that efficient? I don't know. You don't have to match them up. Steve Jobs, he was an interesting. His work attire was basically a black turtleneck and jeans every single day. Did you hear me? Every single day. That's all he ever wore, every single day. Now, that freed up his mind from worrying about what's he going to wear tomorrow. What am I going to wear tomorrow? He didn't care. It was always the same thing. Now, you can look around and you're going to see a lot of obvious differences in successful people. Successful people do things that are really odd. I was reading something about The Rock one day, and The Rock actually, my screen went out for a second. I apologize, guys. The Rock actually gets up at 3:30 in the morning and does his workout every single day. Gets up at 3:30 in the morning. That's odd. Now, most people don't do that. And he does that whether he's shooting a movie or no matter where he's at in the world, he always does that. So weird people usually do things that are not what we expect as normal. What most business owners don't see when they look at successful people are the habits that they've developed. A lot of these habits are very helpful to them, right? Leonardo da Vinci. We all know about Leonardo da Vinci. He was a great inventor. He slept 2 hours at a time in 4-hour intervals. That's what he did. That's what he chose to do. Charles Dickens, right? The great writer. He would only write sleeping and facing north. Okay, so he only slept and wrote facing north. Why? I don't know why. That was probably a superstition, but it probably made him feel like he was going to be successful at doing something. Some of their weirdness is superstition, right? But a lot of it was not. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through 6 items today that I think are kind of strange. And you give me your opinion in the chat section. I think that while people think entrepreneurs are weird is because they are action takers and won't settle for mediocrity like a lot of people. That is very true. Only have white socks, don't need to match. There you go. James is weird because he's only got white socks, right? I had a friend who only wore white socks because he believed that the dye in socks would leach into your body. So he only wore white socks. I don't know. I don't know if it's true or not, but he believed that, and he only had white socks for that reason. Creative people walk to the beat of a different drummer. My screen is a little bit far away, so I couldn't see that. So let's look at some of these traits that they have that I think are kind of interesting. All right, first off, and this is the one I think that kind of motivated me, is they don't look the part. They don't look the part. And what I mean by that is they may not look like what you think they're going to look like. There's a book out called The Millionaire Next Door. Let me put this in here. I want to put this in here so you guys can have it. Read the book, The Millionaire Next Door. And that kind of showed you that what a millionaire looked like was not what you thought. When people are successful, we expect them to fall into a certain mold and look a certain way, okay? But that's not what it is. Let's take an example of the game Texas Hold'em. The person with the strongest hand acts the weakest. Kind of interesting, right? Hoping that others will stay in the game and keep filling up the pot so that he can get all the money, or she can get all the money. Now this is true in life too. That flashy look at me guy is inevitably the one struggling. Okay, that's why I don't have, fancy cars, and I don't show you jewelry and, shoot money out of a gun and stuff like that, because that is just trying to get attention. That's not really real stuff. Okay, that's not real. It's a look at me kind of thing. Successful people don't look for others' approval in their success. They don't. It's like, I'm not going to do something that's going to show you how flashy I am, because I don't need it. I don't care. I know what I make. I know what I do. And I'm trying to help you get to a certain stage. And if I were to act like that, if I were to shoot money out of a gun, for example, and I know a guy who does that, he's a friend of mine, but if I were to do that, that's weird to me. That is like, oh gosh, I don't know, so flashy, I can't take it. It's like the fancy watches. Now this isn't the most expensive. I do have a Cartier watch, but I bought that in my 20s. But this is one of the most expensive watches I have right now, and it's not because it's a fancy gold watch. Matter of fact, it has a rubber band on it. It's because it's a computer on my wrist. Okay, so that's a whole different thing. It's not to be flashy. People aren't going to look at that and go, man, look at that watch, because it's a very basic black Apple watch. That's all it is. So successful people aren't looking for your approval. They're not looking for that. That's not what they are. I'm not saying that successful people are meek, because they're not. They're very strong in most cases. I'm just saying that they have this inner confidence, and they rarely feel a need to show off all this glitz and all this dazzle and stuff. Okay, so that's the first thing I'll tell you. They look a little bit different. Successful people, and it took me a while to get to this one here. This is number 5, or excuse me, this is number 2. Will say no a whole lot more than they'll say yes. Okay, they'll say no a whole lot more than they'll say yes. Let's see here. Thomas Edison was a big nap taker. Of course, he also was hooked on cocaine. Yeah, that may have something to do with it. I take a nap every now and then. I'll do that. And you know what? I'm not consistent about that. Like maybe 1 day a week or 2 days a week, I'll take a nap in the afternoon, and then sometimes I go 3 weeks and I never do. So I'm not consistent about that. Now, if you think about the best way to get to success, it's to get involved with a whole lot of opportunities, right? No, that's not it. You'd be wrong if you thought that. Successful people know the greatest opportunity is the one that they have selected. Because right now there's a lot of opportunities for me. I could work on a book, I could work on videos, I could work on my web pages, I could work on new products. I mean, there's just a wide array of things. So when I get up every day, I'm like, what is it that's going to bring me the greatest satisfaction and get me the greatest results? Okay, so it's not doing 50 million things. I think that is a big misnomer, and I think a lot of people think that, but they're really wrong about that. I consistently say no to a lot of things. I have people all the time saying, will you mentor me? And I 99.9% of the time say no. Generally, if I decide to mentor somebody, it's because I see somebody out there that's really doing something really cool, but I think I could give them some information to help them. And I did it live on mentoring. You ought to go back and watch that. That's pretty interesting, actually. If your goal is to grow giant pumpkins, growing giant melons will also distract you, because it wasn't giant pumpkins. Okay, stick to one thing, do it that way. That's number 2, by the way. Number 3, successful people are quitters. What? Yeah, you know the saying that winners never quit and quitters never win? That's BS. That's BS. Okay, in fact, it's really wrong. Winners quit a lot. Okay, they have a keen eye on what is not working and not supporting the finish line. Okay, so when I have an ad, I may run it to 200 keywords or 300 keywords, or 60 different audiences, and I'm going to quit most of those, because once I figure out the things that don't work, I discard those and I go on to the things that do work. Okay, you've got to be able to do that. Once you identify the things that are sucking your energy and money and resources from the business, you got to cut it out. Okay, you got to get rid of it, and you got to just go with the things that are actually working for you. So that's super important to do it that way. Number 4, successful people do cut corners. They do cut corners. Okay, but you got to understand how and why we do that. Let's see. Paul says you're more class over flash, brother. I don't know about any class, but I have no flash. I know that. I hate seeing the phony gurus out there. I like your mutual friend Matt wears cargo shorts, t-shirt, and beat up hat. Yeah, Matt always wears that same t-shirt. I think it's like a grayish black faded thing. He says his whole closet is full of those. I was talking to him about it when we were in Florida at the Guerrilla Marketing Convention, and I was like, well, you ever think about putting a suit on? He says, never. Never. I never think about putting a suit on. So I go, well, maybe it would help you. He goes, I'll never know. He doesn't care. He really doesn't care. Once successful people figure out how to repeat success, okay, they figure out how to get the same results faster, easier, and cheaper. Now, I'll give you an example. I did a promotion for my 28-ounce canned meats, and I had a sales page, and I had a video on there, and the video talked about how the labels were changing, and I think I played this video for you guys because of our address change, and that was the nexus of the sale, okay, was these labels were changing, and that's why you get a good deal. And it went on to tell all about the product, and then it went on to another page that was an upsell on another page. It worked so well that I just took the same exact thing and I changed everything to 14.5 ounce, and I did my 14.5 ounce sale. That has generated me 6 figures in the past week, which is nice. Okay, very, very nice. I had 2 sales this morning that were over $1,300 because the maximum you can get is 10 cases, and I think that comes out to $1,390. I've had 2 of those sales this morning. So that's very nice. But what I did was I just repeated the same thing over and over and over, right? I repeated the same thing because I figured out what worked. And why should I go try to come up with another idea when that one worked? It worked, okay? And it worked again. It worked both times. Let me get another sip. Now, I probably will wait a month or 2 and I'll run the same thing over again because it works. It works, you know, and I'll have all new people, not all new people, but I'll have more new people in my audience that I can run it to. So that's the thing. Let's see. I'm going to just check all your comments in here. Okay. And guys, keep putting those comments in there. I really appreciate those. I really do. We are on to number 5 now. Ready? Are you ready for number 5? They repeat themselves. Successful people repeat themselves over and over and over again. Okay? If you're pre-vinyl, okay, pre-vinyl means they used to have these things called records, and they were vinyl records. And I think most of my audience that is on the live here understands that. Now, interesting thing, guys, the majority of my audience is 18 to 24 and 24 to 35. That's the majority of my audience. If I look at my YouTube statistics, that's like 88% of my audience. So for those of you who aren't listening to this live, and I know a lot of you guys on here live right now are more in my age group or older, as a matter of fact, but for the most part, that's not my audience. So a record was this thing, okay, that you would put on a thing called a turntable to play it, and it would spin around, and there was a needle thing, and it hit the little grooves in there, and music came out. Okay, music came out. Now, if you've ever heard of a broken record, think of something like a repeat or a loop. It just goes over and over again. And I'm having to explain that to the majority of my audience. Successful people don't stop when they have a success. When they succeed, they try to figure out ways to repeat that process over and over and over and over again. Yesterday, because my wife was busy and she normally does it, the promotion we had, you got one of my books for free. So I had to package up books. And I literally, guys, I had stacks of books. I mean, hundreds of them that I was packaging up. And I hadn't done that in a long time. And it's not profitable for me to do that. I can pay somebody to do that a lot cheaper. But it was like, I just felt like doing it. I felt like doing it. But what we do is we repeat the same thing over and over and over again when we figure out what works. Because if it works, why not repeat it? And here's the last thing. Here's the last thing. This is number 6. But I do have some parting words for you. About my trip and about everything that's going on. They think backwards. Successful people think backwards. So a successful person starts, at the finish. So let's say I wanted to, have one of the #1 survival foods in the country. That's where I start. I start at that even though I don't have it yet. I started, okay, if I had that, which we do now, we have one of the most successful survival food brands in the country. If I decided that's what I wanted to do, I would say, okay, at that stage, when I got to that stage, what had I done to get there? What did I have to do to get to that stage? And we work it backwards, okay? We just work it backwards. Most of us have been taught to take everything one step at a time and then take the next step and then the next until we arrive at our destination or our goal. But successful people, like rocket scientists, actually clearly define the outcome they want first. Okay, so if you're a rocket scientist, you got to say, hey, this is what I want to work, and I got to re-engineer it. So they reverse engineer the steps they need to take to get there. Okay, so if you were, let's say, the top selling real estate agent in your town, that's what your goal was, you would say to yourself, okay, how many houses had I sold? What is the top? What would that look like? What did I do every day to get to this stage? How many people did I talk to? How did I market myself? How did I set up my brand? How did I do all that stuff? And then that's what I'm going to do. That's the way you're going to get to success. You have to put your mind in that spot. Say, I'm already there. This is where I'm at. Now, how did I get there? Let me walk this backwards. How did I actually get there? And if you do it that way, you're going to find that it makes it a whole lot easier. You're going to find that it wasn't getting up at 10 a.m. and going to have coffee with friends and then taking a lunch break and then maybe working a little bit in the afternoon and then watching Netflix. You're going to say, well, no, that's not how that person got successful. That's not how that happened. They did stuff that other people wouldn't do. And we're back down to that weirdness thing. It's not weird. That's the thing, that we started this off today with, I'm saying, well, all these people have these weird traits. They don't have any weird traits. They have things that they do that's different from the average person, and that's how they get above average results. That's the big key, guys. If you're doing what everybody else is doing, you're going to get and produce what everybody else is. Okay? It only makes sense. How could you fathom being more successful than everybody else and doing what everybody else is doing? It makes no sense. Right? Right. Okay. So I want to hear your comments too in that chat section before I get out of here today, because I'm going to miss you guys. I'm not going to see you for a while. Looking back on what people do more than what they say they're doing is the best way I know to spot the true habits of successful people. Look at what they're doing. If they're telling you that they have to work 100 hours a week to get successful, but then they come home at 6 o'clock every night, they take weekends off, chances are they know something that you don't. Figure it out. Start building your own list of habits. What are the things that are non-negotiable for you? My non-negotiable, God, I have so many. My non-negotiable is exercise. Okay, my non-negotiable is exercise. My non-negotiable is getting up and providing information to you guys. My non-negotiable is answering every single comment I get on YouTube. Non-negotiable. Do I do it every single day? No, I can't. But I do get in there and make sure it's all done. And if you commented on any of my videos, try it. Go ahead and comment on my videos. You watch, challenge me. You're going to find that I'm going to respond to you. I'm going to reply to you. I'm going to try to help you out. Non-negotiable. Why? Because my goal is to help out as many people as I can before I'm gone. And I will be, okay? So I want to help out you guys as much as I possibly can. I want to help you grow your business, okay? That's something I want to do, and that's non-negotiable for me. That's something that, number one, I owe you, because I think your time is so very important. I don't know whose time is more important, if it's mine or yours. I just know that you took time out, so I have to respect that. I have to provide you with something. And speaking of cheap t-shirts, I just looked at this one here, Paul, and I think I got one of those cheap t-shirts just like Matt today. I didn't feel like dressing up. I hope you guys don't mind. I'll probably dress up a little bit more for my lunch appointment today. Okay, let's see here. Never understood the need for different speeds on records. Haha. Well, if you think about it, Paul, you've got a 78 and you got a 33, and it's the size. It has to do with the size. And I think scientifically, if it's smaller like that, it has to go around faster. Maybe. I don't know. I kind of twist my brain a little bit. My brain's not that sharp. Okay. Let's see what other comments we got in here. Like you pointed out, I think successful people are great at both focus and modeling. Yes, modeling is really important. Just find out what people are doing that's working. Most have a keen sense of trends and where markets are going because they are always learning. Yeah, that's the thing. It's not like I'm more tuned in to people and markets. It's just that I'm looking at stuff constantly. If you're looking at stuff constantly, you're going to notice stuff. You're going to see stuff. You know, if you're out there trying to do digital marketing every single day, you're going to stumble on stuff. You're going to see stuff that's working. Okay, you're going to find out stuff. It's just being involved. Rees Ali, they had one message that was retracted. Not quite sure. Oh, he's counting the number of people watching. Well, thank you so much for that. But I don't really care. That's the truth, okay? The truth is, I don't care if I have 1 or 0 or 100. You know, I've got videos on my channel that's got 50,000, 100,000 views. I don't really care, because if I can help one person, it's worthwhile to me, okay? It's not, you know, once again, that's a show-off thing, right? People will actually take their channel and they'll pay people to subscribe to their channel so that they can show off how many subscribers they have. I don't really care. Now, having subscribers is important to me, but not fake ones, okay? I want people who really want to learn. I would rather have my 5,000 and some odd subscribers than to have 5 million and they're not paying attention, they're not listening, they're not getting anything out of it, okay? My goal is to help people. Now, if I can help more and more people, that's great, but if I'm only helping one, that's okay. If I do a video and nobody's watching, it doesn't matter, because that video is out there for somebody to learn from, and somebody will pick it up and learn. And I have met so many cool people over the years doing that. So I appreciate you picking numbers. I think it's because geniuses are weird. Well, you missed the first part, but the first part said they aren't weird. The first part just said that they do things that you aren't doing. And that may seem weird because you may be average. Okay, I don't know if you are or not. Maybe you are, maybe you're not. But I can tell you this: those weird people, we call them, are people who figured out different and better ways to do stuff. That's what it is. They aren't so weird when it comes down to it. You also car, and that's weird. You also car. I don't know what that means. Oh, you also care. Okay, I see. You just corrected it. Well, it's not really. And if you think about it, the people who really do care. I mean, I'm gonna give you an example. Elon Musk. Elon Musk's goal is not to make money. His goal is to change the world. He said he developed an electric car, because fossil fuel is not sustainable. It's fossil fuel. We aren't making any more fossils. It will take hundreds of millions of years to make more of that fuel. He knows it's going to run out. And some people will say, well, it's not going to run out in my lifetime. That's not the point. He's trying to improve the world. He doesn't care about his lifetime. He doesn't care about the money he's making right now. He cares about changing the world. He says that the planet is going to be too small, so he wants to go to Mars to help people out. Will he ever live on Mars? Probably not. But he will set the path for all the people who probably will, because he's thinking about other people. As soon as you start thinking and caring about other people, you'll get everything you want. Start caring and thinking about other people, man. If you can achieve that in life, to where you're not thinking of yourself all the time, you're thinking of other people, you're thinking about what you can do for other people, you're thinking about your contribution to the world, man, you're going to be much better off. I promise you, you are. Let's see, on a different topic, when moving to Texas, how hard is it going to be to set up business in Texas and transfer everything over? Are you staying with the same companies? Nothing changes, really. And understand, I'm an online marketer. So I can run my business from the deck of a cruise ship, Paul. You saw me do it. I can run it from Starbucks coffee. I can run it from anywhere. It doesn't matter. I change an address. My reception people and office and all that obviously will change. But that has zero effect on my sales. Nothing. Zero effect. It doesn't matter. Where my office could be in Bangkok, Thailand. It could be in France. It makes no difference whatsoever. I can work from anywhere. And that's why I love selling online, because of that. Come on, JR, tell me you wouldn't miss the few of us that are members of your live stream club if we didn't participate. Oh, hell yes, I will miss you. I would miss you tremendously. But it's not just a numbers thing. I would rather have 2 or 3 of you guys, or 5 or 6 of you guys, than 200 people that weren't really participating. I'd much rather have you guys. Love you guys. I really do. I really appreciate you being here. I think we built a good friendship. I think entrepreneurs are great at realizing their strengths and outsourcing the rest. It allows you to scale faster and more efficiently. Yes, it does. But I will add one thing. Anything you outsource, you should know how to do. You don't have to know how to do it better than the person you outsource to, but you should understand how it's done. If you cannot build a website and you hire somebody to build your website, that's a bad thing, because that means that if you have problems with the website, you're stuck. It also means you don't know how much to pay because you don't know how much effort it took to put into it. That goes with SEO, that goes with writing blogs, that goes with shooting videos, that goes with anything you do online. You can't manage what you don't know, right? You can't manage what you don't know. Now, I can manage somebody to do graphics for me, and I know how long it takes. Even though I may not be very good at graphics, I still understand the principle of it. I know what they do. I know the tools they use. You know, I've got like Photoshop and I've got all these things, and I know how much time it takes. So when I hire somebody to do those things, I know what to expect. So I will tell you this, I don't do everything in my company. I don't. And matter of fact, my company wouldn't exist with some of the people in there, including my wife. She really has helped me tremendously over the years. But there's certain things that she's not good at that I help her with. You know, so we have a good relationship in that. Let's see here. I think I've hit all your comments, guys. I'm up to the 36-minute mark. I think I should get out of here while we're up on an upswing. I really appreciate all you guys. Please do watch the videos that I released this week. I will not be live again until Monday unless I just decide wildly to go live in Carolina. James, I'm going to be on your time zone, so who knows, maybe I'll go live there and just say hello or something like that. Really appreciate you guys. Really appreciate all the input you have. Let's see here. Yeah, I got it all. If you have anything else, put it in that chat. And if you're not watching this live, guys, don't forget you can put it in that comment section below. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit that subscribe button down there. Super important that you hit the subscribe button, okay? If you're interested in hearing more of this. If you're not, don't hit the subscribe button. Okay, if you're going to subscribe and never watch it again, don't join. Don't show up. Don't do it. Do ring the bell if you want to, because that way I can notify you each and every time I go live or I upload a video. And give me a thumbs up. That thumbs up matters a whole lot, more than I realize, actually. The thumbs up matters so much. So if you haven't done that yet, guys, I see a bunch of you have, but I would really appreciate a thumbs up. That would mean a lot to me. And it's interesting as this channel grows, I'm getting more and more offers. I had an offer from Nike the other day. Nike, and they wanted me to do a 30-second video for $1,500. And I had this kit and the things you got to do and the points you got to cover, and I was like, wow, that's pretty cool that Nike wants me to do that. I had an invitation from TED Talks to apply to speak for TED Talks, and I didn't do either one of them. I told my wife about the Nike thing, and she was like, well, that's pretty cool, but what's that got to do with your channel? I was like, yeah, you know, you're right. If I were to do that, I'd be doing something for money. And at $1,500, it's not that much money. I mean, to do a 30-second spot for Nike for $1,500, it just doesn't match my brand. I mean, what do I have to do with Nike? You know, I exercise some, but I'm certainly no athlete or anything like that. Peace and blessings, safe travels. Everybody's offering me safe travels. I really appreciate that. But the point is, guys, stay true to your brand, whatever it is. You know, I get a lot of offers to, you know, do cryptocurrency videos, and these people want to pay me thousands of dollars to do this stuff, and I never do them. I don't want to say I don't need it. I mean, that's an arrogant thing to say. I don't need the money to live. I mean, I can live okay. I mean, I always need money. Everybody needs money, but I mean, I don't need it to get by. If I don't do that, I'm fine. Okay, I have enough money coming in. But stay true to your brand. Whatever you're doing, let me leave you with that today. Stay true to your brand and get weird. One thing Austin's known for is it's a weird city. They say keep Austin weird, so that's what I'm moving into. So I think that's going to be pretty cool. Guys, thank you so much for listening to me today. I really appreciate it. Your time is immensely important to me. It always will be, and I want to provide you with good content. If you have any ideas for anything that you want me to talk about, put that in the chat section, put it in the comment section, and I will definitely try to do it. Thank you so much for being here.